left-wing Kingz. Listen, think, act, repeat. While the July 15th deadline to select a Republican running mate fast approaches, the field is still full of potential vice president candidates. One of them that seems to stand out from the crowd is North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. Now, is standing out from the crowd a good thing or is it a bad thing? Walanda, who is Governor Burgum and what are his political views?
Well, he's the North Dakota governor that most people don't know about. He was first elected in 2016. I'm going to give you some of his stances because he's kind of in the middle of the road of some, to me, and more conservative or extremist on others. He did sign a 6 weeks abortion ban, but he doesn't believe it should be a national ban. But he would sign it for his state. And North Dakota doesn't feel like every state should have to follow.
Ain't nobody in North Dakota.
Ain't nobody, right. North Dakota's pretty small, y'all. On the border crisis and immigration, he deployed state national guards to come help Texas, right, and their immigration problem. He believes securing the southern border is a matter of a national security, so he does think the southern border is something that needs to be addressed. As far as crime and criminal justice reform, he suggested a small town values could help reduce gun crime. So, and he's a gun enthusiast as far as I'm concerned.
You need one in North Dakota. Yeah. That's the bears and moose and shit. You know?
Right. Moose. He has the Second Amendment sanctuary state, so do know that he's all for the gun toting.
Once again, you need one in North Dakota. Shit, you're living in a log cabin. Shit.
Positive. Stance on Israel and Palestine. He does support military aid for Ukraine, but not a blank check. So he feels that we should be a little bit more conservative in the money that we're given. But still. And then on economy and inflation, he will lower inflation, didn't really say how, and gas prices and reduce the cost of living.
You don't control gas prices.
Yeah, so I don't understand. He didn't really say. He just said a general statement. He will lower inflation, and he wants to be energy independent.
Exxon ain't cutting their profit because you get in office.
No. And then on the teacher shortage, he's a champion of school choice. So shout out to teachers. He is not for public education. Believe it or not, we already offer school choices in the world. So he's more for vouchers and privatization and making profiteering off of education and kids and students.
Yeah.
All right. So that was him. And he's self-made, just to let you know, kind of. Not like Trump, so he is self-made millionaire. He has made money. Microsoft, yes, he did sell that business. He became the president of Great Plains Software, then sold it in 1984 to Microsoft, and now he's worth over $100 million.
He's self-made. Where you get the loan from?
No, they said he's a builder. He's a businessman. He didn't come from like a lots of wealth. I'll put it that way. Like
his records.
as far as his family.
Probably got a rich uncle. Gave him some money.
I'm just saying.
He's self-made. They throw that self-made around a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
well, I don't think he has a family of rich people.
Like I'm saying, he didn't come from rich money. So he's the first person that's rich.
Right.
But
money. Yeah. There you go.
But how did he get his money just depends. Well, who knows? Who cares about that? But yeah, the Project 2025, the first thing they're going to do is get rid of the Department of Education so they can monetize our educational system and give it to rich people and make rich people richer, trying to teach our kids.
Not making money off of it.
And this idiot supports that. I mean, Doug Burgum, I don't know my opinion of him. He was the guy at the end at the the presidential debates, the Republican primaries. And didn't know him then, don't really know him now, know a little bit about him. We kind of mentioned that North Dakota's got like 3 electoral votes. So I don't think he brings a lot to being a person on the ticket. I don't think Trump he doesn't need help strengthening the base. The base already loves him. He needs to, try to get somebody who's going to work in the middle of the field for him and probably
I think that's who Doug Burgum might be, that middle of the road guy. He's conservative, but he has some liberal.
But no, he looks good on paper to me, but I don't think he has enough punch to where if I'm a middle of the road on the fence guy, that Doug Burgum does enough that Trump doesn't already do to make me kind of vote for Trump is what I'm saying. Like, yeah, he says some things that are good, but then I've heard him have talking points where he's just really Trump's mouthpiece and just trying to support him and just getting ate up on the thing because he doesn't have an answer for anything. I don't think that he smooths it out to the point. I think he talks towards the base good, what they do. I think he fits that category good, but I don't think he carries enough electoral votes. and I don't think he talks enough outside the box to where he can gain some of those independent voters or moderate voters that are kind of on the fence. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, but it's just like the Texas crisis thing. People up north, let me tell you something. There's no crisis down here. I'm in Texas. We have a immigration problem. We've been having. We've been having one my whole life. You know what I'm saying? So that's nothing. But it's not like immigrants are running across the border and just, raping and pillaging down here in Texas or anything where you got to send the National Guard. We got a National Guard. We got an idiot that'll put them on anybody. He puts them on college students that haven't even set up their dang protest yet. So we know we in Texas, we good. Everybody got a gun down here. I guarantee you we ain't got no crisis where people are running across the border. So you sending people from North Dakota down here is just a gesture. You trying to act like you're doing something. Just like those idiots that drove all the way down here and saw, hey, man, I'm at the border. Ain't nothing happening. Yeah, you're right. Because we got a whole border patrol down here. You know what I'm saying? Right. So stop with that one. And he supports that. So that's kind of my take on him a little bit. So
yeah. So what do you think about his self-made businessman status? Do you think that'll help him win over Trump and Trump might select him because he kind of sees eye to eye with him on that stance?
Self-made. Like I say, once again, it sounds good on paper. I'm self-made. I can say this and that and yada, yada, yada. I don't think that it helps him with, Trump don't need him to support the base. I just don't see how he appeals to anybody in the middle. That's just my thing about it. And even with him saying he's self-made and he's doing this and doing that, that sounds good, but I just don't think it has enough political strength. I mean, to be on the ticket and add something to Trump is basically what I'm saying. Like, he's a good cheerleader for him. I'll take him on that, just like Tim Scott and everybody else. But to really strengthen the ticket and kind of bring some people over that Trump wasn't going to be able to reach out to, I don't see it. I think he has to go with a woman. I'll be honest with you. I think that they're getting ate up on abortion. If he doesn't get a woman that kind of leans toward that, Nikki Haley might be a little bit better because even though she has strong conservative ideas, she does lean a little bit more toward abortion and talk more toward it. I think that would help him out a little bit better. That's kind of what I'm thinking that would strengthen this ticket, that he would now win over maybe some of the middle of the road moms or whatever the case may be that kind of were leaning each way. Oh, well, Nikki Haley's there. She kind of supports abortion. Hell, I probably even voted for her in the primaries. Doug Burgum, nobody voted for Doug Burgum. You know what I'm saying? Nobody even knew who he was. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
what do you think about like the that self-made status? How is that anything helpful to him or the base?
I think it's pro-business attitude because some people, that's why they said they voted for Trump. The first time they're like, well, he's different. He has a business, has business sense and he's been successful. I think some people like that whole pro-business attitude because I do believe there's some things, some business aspects, I think in life that you need to have a good understanding of, especially when it comes to the finances of, of the country or whatever. So I think possibly that could help him. He does have a strong support of bipartisan support. Like he's willing to work with others. That I did like because it does say that he's very bipartisan. Yep. He'll reach across the aisle.
Don't believe
they've said that he has
all you
done
gotta do
that.
is look up his record and
does
Dakota.
show that he's bipartisan for the most part. Again, I mean, in comparison to some of the others. So I think
I'm with Al.
with that,
I'm with Al Roden. I can't trust him, man.
Oh, I didn't say. But
you don't have to trust him. I mean, but you can look at the facts.
You can look at the facts
he's done,
right, and on what he has. So in that, I think he might be okay. I mean, again, that's not my ticket anyway.
That's state politics, though. I think.
Right.
I think, state politics.
Yeah, states he has.
Yeah.
I mean, but that tends to carry over in most cases. And
I can see
if
people
they're able to reach across the aisle, then to get things done. Then that's what they do. I mean, that's his home base. I mean, he could flex out of that and not do it if he didn't want to for certain things. But I think that's his home base. But to your point about the business people, I think there are some people who feel like they're business people and they relate to business people being in politics and think that some of those methodologies and practices that they utilize can be transitioned over into some of the things that are happening in politics, and they value that. And I think that some of his base, or even people in the middle, might say, hey, well, now there's two different people working together. Like Trump some people looked at him and said, "Oh, he's a self-made man. Well, your daddy gave you $1 million,
Yeah,
and this, that, and the other." And they still voted for him because he's different.
Right.
He's a businessman. This guy is a real businessman.
Right.
He sold his thing to Microsoft. That means he created a company that was worth something. He's $100 million now after the fact.
Right.
So he's executed. Trump, on the other hand, we know he's been sued 1 million times for his business dealings. He had the. I don't know, man.
Yeah. He's gone bankrupt.
Anybody had better business sense.
He would be
looking at it would be Burgum.
It'd been Burgum.
Oh
over Trump.
no, definitely. And you know, and no.
Yeah.
He's very educated.
Yeah, I mean, he's, you can't take nothing away from his accolades and that. Yeah, he's an accomplished businessman. Government's so complicated. I just don't know what people kind of say. Well, we need a businessman to do that. No, we need a businessman to do part of it.
Right. And I think that's what they want because no one in government does everything.
Yeah.
It's a team effort. Mm-hmm. Like when you go look at the president ain't sitting up there making decisions by himself. He got a room full of people with him. He got staff. It is not a one-man job. It's a bunch of people giving him insight. Now he got the last word. But
depends.
He's a player in the room who can have influence, and I think that's what you want.
Yeah. So I mean, I just, Burgum. Like I said once again, I just ride on. I mean, like I said, personally, what he's done, great accomplishments, great businessman, did some great things, and like you said, he brings that aspect from it. And I can even see some voters kind of doing that. But I think that all these voters that kind of go, he's a businessman. They did that with Ross Perot. They did that with Trump. You know what I'm saying? If that was easy, then
Trump's the only one that won with that shit.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like you said, Perot didn't win.
I'm just saying. But
Burgum didn't even get selected.
Exactly. Kind of with that mentality, it's just like, I mean, I can see it, but it's just like the other thing. I think it's real superficial if you kind of look at it. I think you got to look at the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
to your point, Ace, you talked about how this dude, he's not like the most flamboyant. He's not like the most exciting dude in the world. So how do you think that Burgum's low drama and his reliable approach to governance would be an advantage over those more flamboyant potential candidates, Wallanda?
Well, first of all, he's actually the 19th most popular state governor. So do understand that he's popular in whatever he is doing. His approval rating is at 56%. His disapproval, that means, is at 26% in North Dakota. Okay, so he says 93% approval among Republicans and large population of Democrats view him favorably. So even though he is a Republican, I mean, he's getting a very large percentage of Democrats that would ride with him. Again, that pro-business attitude and those natures. And he's low-key personality compared to Trump. So I think they're like, he's kind of his, how you have our relationship here. You got the flamboyant individual. And then there's one that's, I'm just kidding.
I wonder who that is.
Which one's flamboyant?
It depends.
I've seen y'all both flamboyant.
Yeah, we can both play.
Yeah,
but you typically
and I've
have
seen
one
both
that
of y'all
will,
low key.
Yeah.
Right. But you typically want to play on each other, right? So you got one in that position and one's a little bit more quieter, at the time. So I think he brings that that low drama to that case. If you don't like Trump's flamboyancy and the things that he says, you may cater. Okay, well, look who his little side pieces over here that will help him just in case.
This sounds like Diddy and Meek Mills up in here.
Oh, hell no.
Hey, we don't know. They might have their secrets.
No.
But you know what I mean? Like I think.
Not.
He might cater to that side of him that people are like, oh, I can't stand Trump. But then you got a level head over here who's proved his success. And again, he has a high approval rating, actually. I didn't know that either until I looked him up. And I was like, you're ranked number 19. So, okay.
Okay, well, I know another vice president that was low key and had a pretty good approval rating. Mike Pence. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He's very conservative. He was low key. He's smart.
He's extremely conservative, though.
Yeah.
He's on the far right.
Mike Pence was what? A governor before he did that? What was he? A senator? I can't remember.
I thought he was a senator.
Look like a Barbie doll.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Look that up. But either way it goes. And look how that ended for him. He had a whole bunch of excitement at the end of that fucking run. You know what I'm saying? They even asked, I saw an interview where they asked Burgum there, like, hey, like, you want to be the vice president, but you know what happened to Mike Pence? You know what I'm saying? Like, You don't feel like how do you feel about that? And he was on some. I mean, and a lot of I'm biased from an interview that I kind of saw Burgum on, and he was just like horrible answers. You know what I'm saying? And so, but that's part of it. So I hear what you're saying, and it's like, okay, well, we'll get the low key guy because Trump's all over the place. Mm-hmm. But once again,
he was the governor of Indiana.
I knew he was a governor somewhere. But either way it is, I think that that's what went for him last time. Mm-hmm. I don't think it works for him this time, personally. And I don't think that if Trump doesn't get in there and try to address abortion somehow, probably put a woman in there, he's going to have a hard time. That's the same playbook he had with Pence.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it won the first time. You know what I'm saying? But against Hillary.
This time.
But I don't think it's going to win this time.
Yeah.
People are upset.
You know what I think? I think you need to hit that like button. Okay. Also, you need to subscribe to Left Wing Kingz and share this content on all of your social media platforms. Por favor. So, Walanda, how could Burgum's lack of political popularity hurt his chances to become VP?
Well, again, just like Adrian said, if you don't know him, you don't know anything about him, it's hard to vote for somebody if you don't have the information. So again, I had to go and research this.
Right.
I didn't know him either, okay? So it's not that I'm just spitting out facts, it's that I actually went and had to look up and find him and look at his stances and all that type of information. So with that case, I think it's going to hurt him if he doesn't get himself out there. Just like you said, you saw an interview, if he can't articulate his positions, if he can't answer questions eloquently, it's going to hurt him because, but you got Trump over here who, is loud and just rambunctious. So maybe that it may or may not, because they may see that as a complimentary to him. But I think people don't know enough information about him. Know in his state is actually doing very well. It has a low unemployment rate. He still has some issues with like climate change because he don't believe in that situation in North Dakota. But right, so there's some elements of him that his state is actually doing pretty well in consideration. Do understand it is a smaller population, right? It's not your Texas or your New York or your California, where you have a larger population to do well and be successful in. But he's actually doing well in that state.
Yeah, man.
And that's with Republicans and Democrats.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not knocking them.
Right.
I'm not trying to knock down North Dakota.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are.
No.
You're like it's North Dakota.
I mean, I'm not trying to knock down North Dakota or anything like that. But all I'm saying is, from a standpoint, once again, we're talking about president, vice president.
Right.
And you have to have this from a real broad approach.
I agree.
And you're coming from a state that is not that populated. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like you said, he's against climate change in a state that, come on. It's a natural conservative state. It's got a lot of beautiful parks and stuff like that. Don't have a big population. So can he really relate to somebody?
Some of the problems
some of the
that
city
everybody else
thing?
has. Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like a lot of times, because we have this push towards, and it was done on purpose politically, like the rural
is
lifestyle
running,
or whatever, and like we've been left out type of deal. And I think he supports a little bit of that more than anything else. And like the cities are just horrible and crime is up, and and believe it or not, from a black standpoint, that's like being racist, because most black people live in city population. When you say crime is up, crime is, we take it now as another way of saying things about black people. You know what I'm saying? So is he from that standpoint? When Republicans come out and say, hey man, we got to do something about crime. You live in a gated community. What are you talking about crime? Hey, you talking about the black people, that side. We need to clean up crime. We need to clean up those communities that have all this crime in here. We need to clean up the big cities when they're saying that. Because that's where black people, that's where the minorities live. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them don't live in the rural areas. So you're talking about a governor that comes from a mostly rural country, a country state. There's probably, I don't know the numbers. I'm pretty sure it's
pretty low.
No, I'm pretty sure it's over 50% white. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
The demographics.
Every state's over 50%.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but
it's a higher, yes.
He doesn't have a big
diversity is lacking.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't,
He's correct.
Don't,
I
don't.
Right.
I can't think of my geography, but I can't think of the big city in North Dakota. But
Bismarck.
Bismarck.
Minot, Bismarck.
Military. Yeah.
Like, let me be
But
real.
it's a lack of diversity.
I'll be
You're
real.
correct in
Yeah,
that
let me-
statement.
I don't know no niggas from North Dakota. Do you? I've never met a nigga that said, "Yo, I'm from North Dakota." I've met nobody that said, "I'm from North Dakota."
I'm pretty sure there's.
I'm pretty
about
sure
maybe
there
two.
is. I'm pretty sure there is. But what I'm getting at
You
is
think of them like Utah, you know what I mean? That's what you see. North Dakota,
Yeah,
I
you
think
can
of
run
Utah.
to a Salt Lake City, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
Right.
I grew up, my dad was in the
Right.
military. I'm from Salt Lake. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't never heard nobody say they're from North Dakota.
84% white,
Cool.
Yeah.
3.85%.
So all I'm saying is,
Very
all I'm saying is like, yeah, it's diversity. And even when I see him rocking, like, where's he coming from? Because like, you too strong on a stance on some things that like, you know, when I'm hearing him doing an interview, like he has no opinion. He's just doing the Trump playbook. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I just think that from a popularity standpoint, man, politics is a popularity game anyway. A lot of it, like Trump, if he wasn't like on TV and people didn't know him from all of the real estate shit, he couldn't have never even had a chance of running, much less winning when he won. It's really a big popularity game, and I don't think Doug Burgum helped his popularity any. Even though he's been like he tried to be in the primaries and stuff, he didn't really perform well, like you said. Interviews, he's not performing well. But even though he has all of these positive things from a politics standpoint, like his record speaks for itself, he just doesn't have that charisma or the things that are going to help him from a popularity standpoint. So I want to close this out. Lastly, but not least, you talked about this a little bit, Ace. Burgum isn't popular, but he's known in North Dakota. They love him. Like you said, Walanda, he's like the 19th most popular. His ratings are great, but his state only gets 3 electoral votes.
yeah.
So based on the population, right? So could this be the nail in his coffin? I mean, does Trump want to take a risk again, like somebody who's only going to give him 3 votes and nothing else? 3 electoral votes and nothing else.
Whoever's sitting on this political team, I mean, I think not just Trump, but you know, if you're looking at it, we're just talking about politics and numbers and trying to get the presidency. I think that does hurt him. You know, he doesn't get him to 278 any faster. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I guarantee you, he can find somebody that's in the swing state that, you know, like I said, Nikki Haley, that kind of really plays toward moderates a little bit more, challenged them. You know, she's had some positive stances on abortion, talking towards it. Even though they don't feel that way, at least she's playing the game on it. And I think she just comes with more value compared to where, you get a Doug Burgum. Like I said, once again, he's just a cheerleader, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's saying the same thing Trump is. He's talking to the same base. He's saying the right things for them. He hasn't said anything to talk to a moderate or independent to make them think, for a minute there, you know, and being the one independent in the room, you know what I'm saying? I like Nikki Haley until she started just going off and just saying slavery wasn't existing and shit. But other than that, when she first came out, I was like, okay, that's the one. That if I was going to lean to Republicans, I would listen to her. And then she just started going off on the tangent. But outside of that and her politics and what she's talking about, she lined a little bit better with moderates and independents. He don't. He lines all the way still to, you know, on the red side. And I just don't see him, you know, helping them out to get to the presidency, especially when he only carries 3 electoral votes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. What I was going to say is, I think yes and no. I'm going back and forth because I was like, oh, well, 3 electoral votes. But you got to think of what other states are like your North Dakota. Like you said, he's speaking for that minority voice. So I think all the minority voices may get in line because they're like, well, he's like us. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the little state. You know, I need somebody to speak for me. So I think on that pick, you know, he might get, might be a good thing because you got now that minority voice to speak to him and help out with that, whatever problems that they have. Because again, you know, we do forget the minority, and we know how it feels to be forgotten because, you know, we as people have been forgotten in a lot of things. I do think he's going to have a problem with the diversity part. People can say whatever they want, but people get excited around diversity. You got to look at when Barack Obama became president. I mean, he was everybody was excited. Everybody, black, white, Italian.
Everybody.
Well, I'll put it this way, a lot of
Not the Tea Party.
diverse populations. Well, we know we brought out the ugly, but there's a lot of people who are happy, you know? Same thing with the woman's voice. People get excited to see a woman. People are tired of the old status quo. And sorry, but our country's not necessarily getting better for it. So what we've always known is a white male runs the country. A white male runs the country. a white male runs the country. And now we can say, actually, it can be a black male. It could be a woman. It could be a Hispanic lady. It could be whatever. You know, people get excited about the change in that. I think they're embracing it. I think people do see success. And we've seen success, right, in our daily lives with these individuals being in power. I do think people have gotten more comfortable with it. Now, of course, we still got the oldies that hate it. But there are some people, I think it does, you know, put shines a light. Like, hey, I can also be the president of the United States. These young ones growing up are like, that could be me one day. I think we used to think that would never be. I never thought that I would have an opportunity to be the president of the United States. But me seeing those changes, I'm like, that could have been me. Or it could still be me, or I can do these things. So I think in that light, he's going to have an issue with that because he doesn't bring that, you know, lack of diversity. But he does speak for the minority in his position of the little 3 electoral votes.
Yeah.